If that's what it's gonna look like in another 15 years, let me go try something else. Let me do something else. We only have one life in this life. Hello, hello, hello. My name is Rita Mavunda, and today I just kind of want to talk to you about my journey from going across the pond, across the Atlantic, and how I got to Africa, and how did I get here, why did I get here, and what am I doing, right? Because we always got to have those questions, the who, what, when, where, and why, and that's what gives us the full encompassing all the things that we're doing, right? So like I said, my name is Rita Mavunda. I was born in Krakow, Poland. My mom is Indian from Kenya, and my father is African from DRC, Congo. Like I said, we were born in Krakow after my parents met, and obviously my mom knew that we were her kids because we were probably the only brown kids in that hospital. So yay, mom, for having brown babies. Anyway, so we were born out there, and then my mom was in medical school, so she decided that she was gonna do her residency and our internships in the US. So we moved from Poland to Europe. I moved in with my grandparents while my mom went on and finished up her school in Miami. After she was finished, we all moved and we came down to the MIA 305, Dade County. For those who know, y'all know. I've always claimed Miami. I'm a girl from Miami, even though I've worked in New York and I've done a lot of stuff. I get a lot of people, it's like, oh, you must be from New York. I'm a girl from Miami. Old school Miami, not this new, old. And again, those of y'all who know, y'all know. Anyway, so I moved out to Miami. I grew up in Miami, went to high school in Miami. I went to the same high school as our newest Supreme Court Justice. And Jeff Bezos also went to our high school, Miami Palmetto. And while I was out there, a girl ain't dumb, so we used to do a lot of stuff. And then I went to Georgetown for undergrad. And at undergrad, I was a psych major with a business minor. And I had always thought I was going to go to medical school because, Indians, they always go to like what? Medical school, doctor, pharmacy, or computer science. Anyways, that did not work out. That is not what I wanted to do. And thank God, in hindsight, I never did it. I actually ended up going to law school. I went to Howard University, a Bisons out here. We're talking about Black excellence. I went to law school on a law school scholarship plus a stipend. I received, every semester I received over $20,000, which was fantastic, especially back then. I'm a little bit older than what I might look, so y'all could do the math, but don't, it's never nice to reveal a lady's age, now is it? So anyways, yeah, I went out to law school. I was in law school the whole time I was out there. I never really knew what kind of law I wanted to do. I remember watching Legally Blonde, and I remember, no, not Legally Blonde, whatever that other one was with the other one, Alicia Silverstone. Y'all remember, I don't remember the name right now. But anyways, I remember in that video, she was like, my dad's a litigator. He's the most dreaded litigator. And I remember at that time, I was like, oh gosh, like who wants to do litigation? This sounds so scary. But I ended up becoming a trial lawyer, and I loved it. LOVE, loved it. I started out in Miami in the Miami-Dade Public Defender's Office, and I started under Bennett Brummer. Well done, Bennett. I think that he really instilled in me, just really loving trial work. I used to love during jury trials. I used to love being in front of them, picking a jury, convincing them that what we were doing was right, convincing them that maybe my client didn't deserve as much time and all of that. It was like, it was like some movie stuff. We used to be in trial back to back. I remember there were some weeks where I would literally do 3 jury trials in a week. You would have your jury out until 10 p.m. The next morning you were there and you were starting another trial. It was very dynamic. It was very engaging. It fit my personality perfectly. I did not know that there could be a job out there that could do that. So it was really fun while I worked under Bennett Brummer, the new Miami PD. And that's when I kind of realized maybe I needed to move. I was barred in New York prior to being barred in Florida. And for those guys who are not lawyers, barred means that you have been accepted into the bar association and you are now qualified to be, it's like you're in the lawyers club. So I moved to New York. I moved in and I went up there, I think it was September 2010. And when I moved to New York, I knew that I really wanted to create a different type of a practice for myself. Even though I was really, really good at trials, I realized that actually the best and most effective lawyer is the lawyer who is able to negotiate the best deal possible for their clients. And then after that, whatever happened. So when I moved to New York, I just wanted to totally change how I worked. I wanted to change exactly how I did. I used to work with the Legal Aid Society. I worked in the Manhattan office. And I mean, it was like really, it was fun, but it was definitely a different practice. No disrespect. Miami PD is much better than Legal Aid, but again, y'all can judge or whatever, I don't care. Any of you guys in New York who have worked in Florida and then moved up there, y'all already know what's up. Anyway, so I moved up there. I was working, going in. Like I said, I changed my pure tactics of how I did it. I really worked on being able to be a better listener and to be able to do something better for my clients, because although you as a trial attorney enjoy going to trial and you're good at it, at the end of the day, it's not really your life, right? It's your client's life. So anyways, I was doing that. I was up there. I did like really good work. We did like case law. If you ever look up Juan Santana versus the United States, that's my law that went into it. My last case, it was a really big one where it was, if you ever Google Bobby Love and escaping from a New York prison, that was my last case. It was really exciting because we got a lot of post-conviction relief. And again, in the legal world, the hardest thing is post-conviction relief, right? If you're trying to get anything, you want it done before anybody's sentenced. Anyways, that's neither here nor there. So while I was working in New York, working at the Legal Aid Society, you know, you have like a lot of variety of people and a lot of different types of people from different backgrounds, and that's one of the perks of being in New York City. But now, you know, I'd been practicing for like a long time, and I'm kind of looking at my colleagues and I was like, oh, okay, you know, like, what do you really want to do with your life, right? What do you really want to change? How do you want to make it look, right? Because the other thing is that we realize is that we only have one life in this life. Life is not a team sport. It really is what you are putting into your own life. Now, to build something that's great, you need a team. But the life itself, it's not a team sport. So I remember one afternoon, it was like a happy hour, and I'd gone out with 3 of my colleagues. 2 of my colleagues were about 15 years older than me, and one of my colleagues, she was like a few years younger than me. And I remember we were just kind of chopping it up, and I remember exactly where we were. We were like right off of Church Street. It was like this Australian place. Now it's no longer an Australian place. But anyways, we were just chilling. We were talking. The ladies were just kind of saying what their backgrounds were, where they were from, you know, just chit-chatting. And I promise y'all, the only thing I could think of watching these old ladies was, if that's what it's going to look like in another 15 years, you got to do and try something better. You got to go and do something that you really want to do. And you got to go and do something that fills you, fulfills you, makes you feel better, makes you feel like you're really contributing. And even though as like a public defender, I definitely knew that we were, because look, we're representing a segment of society that really nobody cares about. But I'll tell you what, sometimes it's like beating your head into a wall. Most of y'all already know. It's like, it's a law of diminished returns. You're fighting a big beast where nobody wants to change what it's like. And after a while, you're like, why am I doing this for? I didn't want to do it no more. Basically, that's it. I didn't want to do it anymore. I wanted to be able to create something that I could be proud of. I wanted to create something that was for somebody else that they could be proud of. And I wanted to make my cash, right? Like, real talk. I was a public defender. We are the lowest paid sets of lawyers, all right? We don't get paid nothing, all right? Just so you guys get it, when I was in Miami, I was only making $42,000 a year, okay? And all right, fine. In these parts of the world, $42,000 a year is like big, big money. But in the US, $42,000, what you gonna get for $42,000? Nothing, right? And I'm living in Miami. It's like, any of y'all who live in Miami, you already know the way these rents are going up. What do you make it with $42,000? I was only able to do that because, like I said, thank you, Howard, for that law school scholarship and those stipends. It was the best setup that they could have ever done for me. It was the best setup that I've ever had for life. Because of that, I didn't have debt. And when you don't have debt, you got more choices, right? You're not stuck being in a profession that maybe you don't like, that you're only doing it for cash so that you could pay off all this stuff. I really had options and I had choices. And another thing in life that we like are choices, right? Nobody likes to have a choice made for them. And so this really allowed for me to have different choices. So I'm sitting out there, I'm with these girls, we're kicking it or whatever. And I just knew right then, I was like, I got to do something different. This ain't gonna work. I'm not gonna be able to do this whole thing and another 15 years I'm doing the same thing, ain't nothing changed, it's all the whatever. That's not how I am. I'm a Gemini. We like variety, we like all things that are new. And for all of you guys who cringed that I was a Gemini, soak it up. Anyhow, So I realized I needed to get out of there, right? So when I was working at the Legal Aid Society, we were entitled to a year-long sabbatical for every number of years that you had worked. So I remember when HR had told us about that back then, I knew I had to be able to take advantage of that, because again, who's working in a professional job that you're allowed to leave for a whole year, do whatever you want, and your job is still open for you? You know what I mean? So I was like, I'm gonna be out. Let me go try something else. Let me do something else. So I have been coming to Kenya since the 80s. Like I said, my mom was born in Kenya. My grandmother was born in Kenya. Although we are Indians in Kenya, there is a long history of Indians being in Kenya because of the Brits. So anyways, I've been coming out here for a very long time. And I remember there was this one trip that I had taken that made me feel I really wanted to be in Africa, right? So for me, I was like, well, if my dad is born here, and he was born and raised in Africa, in DRC Congo. If my mom was born here in Kenya, and she was born and raised here, I wanted to really experience what it would be like to be of African descent, but actually back in Africa, right? And I really wanted to create something that made some sense. So I took my sabbatical and I moved out here. So originally I had moved to Malawi. I moved to Lilongwe, and I had moved in with my girlfriend and her family. And they had started an alternative milk business, which I think was like pretty revolutionary, because especially around here, most people are drinking like cows and goat's milk. So it was really nice to be able to see people who wanted to create rice milk and peanut and cashew and almond and all of these different varieties. And I also wanted to be able to come and work with them so that I could understand what's it like to work in Africa, what's it like to be in a culture that is not what you've grown up with, and living, working, and traveling in different countries are totally different, right? There are many, many countries that I love traveling to, but y'all would never catch me living out there. I.e., for instance, Dubai. I like going to Dubai because my best friend lives out there, but y'all would never catch me living in nobody's Dubai. Nobody's gonna catch me working in nobody's Dubai. You get? So anyways, I went out there. I made it about a full 4 months, and that was it. Whew. So as we also know, all cities are not made the same and built the same. And as much as the people in Lilongwe were wonderful, as nice as it was to be with my girlfriend and her family, nope. Woo, that was hard, y'all. Ooh, that was hard. Like, there is no electricity out there. We were on rationing of electricity when they did turn on the electricity. I mean, it really was like those pictures. You would just see an extension cord pulled out, and it would be like 50 phones shoved in, trying to get it to work before they cut off the electricity. At night, you don't hear quiet. At night, you just hear the sound of generators. And for those of y'all who have never experienced the sound of generators, imagine a constant, consistent, loud, buzzing sound all night long. And then you hear the sputtering of it dying when the gas has run out, so it stops for a second till they get the gas back in, and then back to all of that. Anyways, it was not conducive for me. It was not a place that I knew I would be able to thrive properly. The mentality, the way people were, I wasn't gonna be able to do it. So now I'm over here for 4 months. And now I was like, so now what do you do? Because I got a year-long sabbatical, and I didn't want to forfeit the remaining 8 months that I had left. And that was the thing. If you went back before your sabbatical was over, you forfeited all that time. And there was no way y'all was going to take my time, right? Remember, I'm taking my time. So then I was like, let me just go back to Nairobi. So I hadn't been to Nairobi in a really long time. I had stopped coming for a while because, like I said, I've been coming since the 80s. And back then there was nothing out here but bush, all right? It was nothing but bush. I've read all the Ian Fleming 007 books. I have watched every episode of Dexter's Laboratory, and there's only so much you can do with that, right? So anyways, now, after all these years, I was coming back and I was like, yo, this city is something else, right? Like, Nairobi really is great. For those of y'all who have not visited, it really is a wonderful city. People are super polite. The weather is just fantastic. It's beautiful, it's open, it's airy, it's tree. For those of y'all who live in the city, you already know that concrete jungle is trash. You got to be able to see the sun, the sky, and you got to be able to get your feet on real like ground, not concrete, not smelling dog piss everywhere, seeing all homeless people laid up everywhere. It's trash. Life is a lot cheaper out here, especially coming from New York City. Like, it's night and day. I can't even believe how much money I was spending out there before I came out here. Now, if you told me I had to spend all that, it's not gonna happen. It's silly. But anyway, so I moved out here and I was really interested by like what it was, right? So in my mind, I'm like, all right, girl, so you got 8 more months left of this sabbatical. And if you don't figure something out, you're gonna have to go back to New York. You're gonna have to go back to the Legal Aid Society or whatever it is. You're gonna go back to being a lawyer, right? Whether it's wherever you are, that's what you're gonna go back to. And the one thing I realized, I was like done with it, right? Like I knew I didn't want to go to private practice, working for somebody 80 hours a week. No, I knew I didn't want to go to another like public interest job where I'm still only making like 40 G's. No, it wasn't going to work. And honestly, like after a while, you get tired of hearing people's problems all day long, right? Because as a lawyer, you're not just a lawyer. You know, you're either a counselor, you're their mom, you're their social worker. And it's like, no, I'm good. Y'all figure that out. Remember what I told you, right? Life is a single man sport. So anyways, I came out here and I was like, let me see what I can do. So I started taking some business classes that were for professionals who are already working in the market. And I was like, let me just meet different people and see what's up. So I went to the classes and I was like, but you got to be able to figure something out that you can do, right? Because you can't just sit out here. The money I had saved up for my sabbatical, it was already starting to run dry. And I was like, you got to be able to do something. So especially before COVID, if my mom ever had like a medical conference somewhere outside, I would just meet up with her just so I can get some, you know, mom and daughter time. I am a mama's girl. It is what it is. So anyways, we met in Portugal and she had never been out there. I had been out there like maybe like 2 times before. And I really wanted her to see it because I had always had a really good time. So we met up and it was great, right? Like we were just chilling. We went one day on like this phenomenal port wine, like wine tasting. And generally it's weird. Like, you know, you go to these things and then people like you. So now they're bringing out all the extra good stuff. So the guy who was like the store owner, he just really liked my mom and I. So now he just started bringing stuff out, right? Like bringing stuff out in bottles that had no name, but had been sitting over there and just, you know, aging and all of that. So anyways, we got lit. We was drunk. We were tipsy out there. And I remember all of a sudden just having this like, duh, that's what you should do. And I was like, why don't you start importing and making your own private white label wine, right? Why don't you make it for your product, make it for your community, make something that they like? Because one of the things I realized is that as much as things had changed in Nairobi, you also did realize that a lot of like the really good products were so marked like so high in price that you really priced out the majority of like Kenyans who would be able to afford these things, right? Most of us who have, or not most of us, all of us who have US passports, British passports, other European passports, Australian passports, whatever it is, you could get in and out of these countries, right? Like you don't have to do anything. Like if I wanted to leave Nairobi today, I could go to the airport with my US passport, deuces, I'm back, gone, and I'm gonna come back. But for local Africans, you know, you can't do that. Like these guys to get visas to get out of here, it's like, it's a nightmare, right? Like these guys are acting like, oh, they're gonna come to America, they're staying and they're not gonna do anything. It's like, maybe some people just wanna visit and like hang out, you know? So anyways, I realized, I was like, well, why don't you start bringing in products that fit for your Kenyan community and your market, but it's like more high end, has more of a value, but you're almost kind of like bringing the world to your community. And so we started bringing in private wine. We started doing all of that, and then COVID hit. Dun, dun, dun. And it's still like here, but I don't know why people are acting like it's not around. But anyways, that's like another topic for another video. But anyway, so now COVID happened. We had a lot of issues that came up, and I'll definitely do another video about what that was like in terms of formation of business and some of the hurdles that you are going to find, you're going to face, you're going to have to deal with, especially if you are going to be coming to Africa to start your own situation. Not that you're coming in working for like, you know, USAID or working for the embassies or working for, you know, Deloitte and Touche, not these big firms that are here and then people come and it's like, oh, I'm here. And it's like, nah, like if you're saying I'm trying to come out here and start like a whole business from the bottom that is meaningful to you, that is of value to you, you're going to be dealing with some stuff. Like on some real shit, you're going to be dealing with it. And I'll definitely do another video about it. Like, if you can't read it all over my face, this whole week has been very challenging. But I do not regret my decision for moving here. I do not regret my decision of no longer practicing and coming here to start my own business. So once COVID started, they always say you should do something you like or do something that you know, right? And I knew how to be a lawyer. I know how to be a trial lawyer, but I don't really like it anymore, right? So it definitely wasn't something I wanted to do out here, but I like traveling. I love anything that's new or different. I'm a believer of experiencing everything twice because you never know. And so when I was going out and I was looking at kind of what people were consuming, I was like, this is definitely where I need to be. This is definitely the segment of society that I need to really tap into and see what we can do. And so COVID happened, and then we really said, you know what, well, let's really look at what's really missing in the market, right? Like, fine, there's alcohol here, because the one thing you're going to learn when y'all come out here, Kenyans love to drink, y'all. They love going to church, and they love going to the bar. And you're going to see them out here, and it's just drinks. So there's definitely like a big part of that. But then with COVID, everybody's kind of like life and mind change, right? Like people who tapped into that and really realized maybe we should do something different. Those guys are really working. Those guys who are sitting here killing themselves and drugged up and boozed up and all of that, they weren't really taking the opportunity. And so what we then decided was that we wanted to do real wellness. And so we really created our company. I created a company here, Toshana Investment Africa Limited. And we really are a wellness marketplace. Our YouTube channel, like and subscribe. It is called TIA Wellness Marketplace. And this is kind of where you're going to see all of our different products. So once COVID kind of came and we started seeing, right, like get your immunity up, making sure that you're healthier, making sure that you're consuming things that are better for you, not just doing junk. So we started a whole line of sodas with vitamins, right? So what we were thinking was, how do we get people to get more nutrition, more wellness, have a healthier lifestyle, but in a way that maybe they were more open to it, right? Sure, you can sit here and drink oranges and eat spinach, but you're never going to be able to eat enough of the stuff that you're going to need to be able to get the wellness that you need. So we started creating our own line of sodas with their own functions. And so we have 3 sodas at the present. One is our gold drink, which is really good for hangovers. It's really good for like beauty. We have another drink, which is our low sugar diabetic drink called Active Shot. And then we have a third drink for children, for growth, really, especially for those kids who are super picky. But again, right, like as with all things, as with business, as we move, now we're getting a lot of feedback from the market. Like, oh, you're doing this. Why don't you bring us something else about this? Why don't you bring us this? When you are going to be coming to Africa, this is a very conservative society, right? Especially compared to Americans and American culture. A lot of the things that in America we're like, why? Like, what are y'all tripping about? Out here, it makes a big difference, right? Just like, just kind of words. Like, I'll give you an example. This is going to be like a weird example, but for instance, right, in the States, we call ourselves black ass this, and oh, bring your black ass on, and ooh, my black ass, I'm tired, right? You can't say that out here, right? Like, you cannot say that out here. For the African, for the Kenyan, it is so offensive to them, right? And so these are small little things that you're gonna have to learn and you're gonna have to assimilate. So anyways, in all of that, we started getting a lot of feedback from the market about bringing products for sexual health, right? Because the other thing is we realized that for real prime sexual health, you do need your vitamins. And with our nutritious sodas, one of our benefits are it helps with libido. So now we started getting a lot of people asking, like, why don't you bring something like that? So the market said it, we listened. We opened up a whole new other line of sexual wellness products, bringing products for both men and women, which were natural, which were herbal products. We were importing those from the US, FDA approved. And again, this is all really in line with the vision that I had that day sitting in that happy hour restaurant with these guys, sitting in Portugal with my mom, just drunk, where it was just like, nah, we got to do something that really makes some sense. We got to bring something that makes people feel good, look good, be better. But, you're going to make your cash out of it. So we have a new line of products that are coming out for libidos. We have 2 for men, Black Steel and Miss Steady. And we have another one for women called Refine Me. Girls, refine me. Anyway, so that's what we've been doing. And we're out here. I've learned a lot of lessons. I've built my own businesses here. I've done everything from the ground up. So I am definitely available to any of y'all out there who are looking for somebody to talk to. How do you start a business? How do you get engaged? How do you move in the market? How do you find employees? How do you find your team? Because I'm telling you, it is challenging. Those guys of y'all who do HR, God bless y'all. I don't never want to do HR again. I hate it, but you got to do it. So anyways, my name is Rita Mavunda, and this whole video today was just kind of like, what was I doing in my past life to now in my new life? It's weird now being a lawyer. It just feels like a whole past life. I'm doing my CLE credits just because I maintain my licenses, but it just feels like a whole nother life, right? Like now it's like we are building, we are creating, we are distributing, we are supplying, we are providing the market with really quality value products for their sexual health, for their reproductive health. We have another whole line that we're bringing out just also to do a lot of corporate social responsibility, because I do believe if we are coming out here, we have to do something that we're giving back to the people, right? And it has to be in something that's quality and value, which really aligns with what we are. So my name is Rita Mavunda. I am the CEO and advocate, attorney, founder of Toshana Investment Africa. We are a wellness-based business. We are focused on making sure we bring high quality goods for people who have value. If you are looking for somebody you need to help you assist, maybe to set up a business, to do HR, any of that, I'm available to you. Give us a call, hit me up, like and subscribe on the bottom, hit me up with comments. I'm open, but I'm here for you guys. I'm here for you guys. I'm out here, I'm living the life and I'm building the dream, and I want to help you guys do the same. So thank you, and I'm gonna hit y'all up later. Bye.